These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Yes, it is a Reckless Speculation Thursday. Happy Reckless Speculation Thursday to all who celebrate.
Everyone celebrates, Phil. Right. Everyone.
Who doesn't celebrate it?
Correct.
Got our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department.
I'm here. Now, this seat, is it possible? Was Royce in this seat recently?
My seat's all messed up, too.
I am really low to the ground.
Bring it up.
Like, it's almost uncomfortable. I don't know how to bring it up.
There's a lever right there.
On your right-hand side, dude.
It's on the bottom.
There was a one-liner there, by the way, that I teed up for somebody, and nobody delivered.
Bring it up. You're fine.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of the armrest.
On your right. On the right.
On the armrest.
On the armrest, underneath. There's
like
a
kind of
lever.
Underneath the arm.
There's
Not
the little tab.
Boom.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Clip that.
There it is. Look at that.
I'm good.
Solving
For a
problems.
sports guy, that's impressive because it takes us some time to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I am not a handyman. I am no Harrison Smith.
Great profile by Chip Scoggins, by the way.
Fantastic.
On, Harrison Smith.
Chip and Harrison last week sat down in the Vikings locker room. I could see it unfolding. It turned out very, very well.
Yeah. Well, speaking of unfolding, the Vikings had some surgeons go in and unfold the knee of JJ McCarthy in some form. They went in and they did. So it's funny because some little birdies started chirping in the background about 48 hours ago. And we here on SKOR North podcasts caught wind. And then Kevin Seifert, actual capital J journalist there at the practice facility, brought it to the finish line with his own reporting. But it's out there. And JJ McCarthy had a procedure. It was not necessarily planned or expected. The Vikings are telling everyone to calm down. This is not a story. I have heard that there is some concern about the timeline. Not like panic and freak out, but that it's not a foregone conclusion that the timeline is going to stay where it is. So I'll throw it to you guys, starting with Doogie here. Level of panic or concern, or should we all just take a deep breath and trust the Vikings here that there's really nothing to see with this second procedure?
Somewhere in the middle. I mean, I'm a skeptic by nature. So, journalism 101, why is this person lying to me? I can't necessarily trust at face value exactly what Kevin O'Connell said on Wednesday. This was not expected at all. So certainly it's some level of setback, more so an injection. And that's where, there were some birdies chirping, you and I and Judd. We all went back and forth via text, 24 hours ago, saying, hey, have you heard this? Have you heard that? We couldn't get it quite nailed down. Maybe it was more the semantics because we had heard potentially surgery, but now hearing more so, okay, an injection. I guess it's how you interpret that. But it's certainly a story. When he started to ramp up his activity, his rehab, and swelling occurred, they did not anticipate this. It's not unheard of, but they certainly did not anticipate this. There has to be, Judd, some level of concern.
Yes, there is concern. Not panic, there is concern. Now,
definitely not panic, no.
If you guys recall as well, so just as far as and I love how it feels like Groundhog Day with this stuff, because if you guys recall, after the Raiders preseason game, when McCarthy on Sunday had knee issues, O'Connell went to the podium before the night practice that next Monday and said, there's some soreness there. We're not too concerned, and basically downplayed it. And my immediate reaction was, well, that's interesting. He's bringing that to light and the guy can't practice. Like, this is cause for concern, not panic. Well, sure enough, he had surgery, season done. Now, to Phil's point about the timeline, the interesting thing about the timeline is the team will say and can say, you don't know the timeline. There's never been a timeline. Like the only timeline we think is he'll be set for the start of training camp in 2025 and be the quarterback, right? But like, were they originally, if they were originally earmarking the start of OTAs in May, and now it's like going to be June, they can just say that was our timeline. So it is worth monitoring anytime a young man has 2 knee procedures done before he plays a game. It's not worth panicking about, but just one more thing quickly that I think should be sorted out here. In order to find out that they could get away with just a PRP injection, they had to go in and look at the knee. Now, I'm sure it was an arthroscopic procedure. That's surgery, right? But like we're trying to combine well, it's not like the doctor put his hand on McCarthy's knee and is like, yeah, this is nothing. Let's do the injection. So the injection in and of itself is not surgery. But as I said on Unchained with Patrick, if you're going to look at the engine of the car, you have to lift the hood. And there has to be a way to get in there. So they did a surgical procedure to look around and, I guess, lessen their fears. So let's be very clear about how this works. I feel like the there's nothing to see here. Artists are very hard at work telling us there's nothing to see here. And the last time that we were told that, the man was on a table undergoing season-ending surgery. Let's just be realistic here.
Can we also understand that this is the Minnesota Vikings franchise that has never had good luck and good things happen to them? Their other franchise quarterback was in practice and he dropped back and his knee exploded. Okay, so what good fortune are we talking about here with the team that has had every possibly bad thing that has ever happened to them, fair or unfair? So do not give me this crap of, you guys are making a mountain out of a molehill, and thank God all these good reports are coming out. When has ever anything good happened to the Minnesota Vikings? It never happens.
Oh, you're fired up. It's been a wild morning for Declan Goff.
I wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I respect that, Declan. I'm in the middle. We absolutely need to monitor this situation. I am not ready to hit that panic button. But yes, semantically, Judd, I think you laid it out perfectly. And hey, you said it too. 2 surgeries before he's played in a regular season game. And I'm telling you, I can't stress this enough. This was not anticipated. So it's absolutely a setback. But you're right. I mean, as far as we know, the timeline, we don't have the timeline. Was it, hey, he's ready to go mid-April, the start of the offseason program? Is he good to go that first time on the field for organized team activities? The mandatory mini camp, mid-June, ready to go? Or is it more like July 27th, the start of training camp, or that first padded practice, August 1st or August 2nd? We never have been given that sort of definitive timeline. But as far as we can tell, he should be okay by, let's say, the start of training camp, end of July.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on that. And
as long as there's not another setback. I mean,
well, that's the thing.
I don't have enough working knowledge.
Correct.
Once you undergo, what they did, you get the PRP injection. Are you more likely than to have another one? I don't know. Right. So I guess I need some sort of medical expert to chime in. I don't think we'll get any of the Vikings medical people to chime in, even on background. Well, maybe. Who knows? But on the record, that might be difficult. But I need a little bit more knowledge on this topic. But I just wonder, right? I mean, this is a safe space to wonder aloud. I just wonder, okay, this has now happened once. Is it more likely to happen again?
I think it also makes it even more important to go in with a credible insurance policy at quarterback next year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it gets complicated with Sam Darnold. ESPN just released their 2025 free agent rankings this morning. And I saw PFF had their list out a month ago. So we're already ranking free agents for 2025. And Sam Darnold is the top ranked quarterback free agent, I think by a mile in that class. I know he's been shaky and he threw the 300. He's got 5 interceptions last 2 weeks. But if free agency started right now, he would get at least a 2-year contract for at least $20 to $30 million.
Absolutely. Yes.
I'm not saying he's making 50 or anything, but he's going to get at least 2 years in terms of guarantees, and he's going to get a lot more money than he's making the $10 million with the Vikings, which likely prices him out because the Vikings want to go in with JJ McCarthy. But if there's some knee questions, you want something better than Nick Mullins. And we went through a list yesterday, but this just it throws another curveball into their, and they've got the money. They can go out and spend another $10 million on a backup quarterback if they need to. But it complicates things more if you want a credible insurance policy that isn't Sam Darnold for next year.
What is the franchise tag for a quarterback in 2025?
It's not out yet, right?
Well, it'd be the average of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks, right? So it'd be between $50 and $55 million.
Okay, so unrealistic. Daniel Jones? I mean, you're right. It needs to be somebody that's not Nick Mullins, right? That is better than Nick.
Jameis Winston.
So who is that individual?
Andy Dalton.
The Rocket.
I mean, it's somebody of that ilk, right?
Can you imagine O'Connell?
It's somebody along those lines. I'm not sure about James.
Poor Kevin O'Connell.
Be a blast.
I don't think Kevin's going down that road.
Justin Fields? Justin Fields is afraid.
That's a better probability than Jameis Winston.
$5 million?
Yeah.
But you know what? Hopefully this
probably more than that.
Hopefully this is nothing. But I do think, like Duke said, it's the fact that they had to do a second procedure they didn't expect means the doctors don't know too. So like you can talk to doctors who will be like, well, here's the ordinary procedure. But the reality is, when you do the first procedure, you're hoping you don't have to do a second one. So like we just have to wait and see. To Declan's point, I feel like it's bad karma to just assume it's fine. I feel like it's almost better to be concerned and on edge, and then if it's not, you're like pleasantly surprised. I feel like the thing of, oh, don't talk about it, it's going to be fine, is very much then like leg explodes on practice field non-contact, and now you're really screwed.
Well, I mean, are we sure that internally there isn't that concern?
Oh, we're not. No,
publicly,
no,
Kevin said what he had to say.
Correct.
To calm down the fan base.
Yeah. Yes.
And hey, I'm just reading some tea leaves, just a little bit of a sense that internally, yeah.
Well, how can
I think what I laid out, that it's not panic right now, but absolute concern. I think that exists internally.
Yeah. Hey, what about Aaron Jones with some ribs and Cam Robinson?
He'll be okay.
with like a foot was limited. Any other injury things that besides JJ McCarthy long term here, short term beat the Titans on Sunday that we should be worried about?
No, I mean, I was over there on Wednesday. Nothing that I can gather. Aaron Jones says he's good to go. He's experienced this type of rib/chest injury. He knew what to expect those first 48 hours. Feeling better as of now. Good to go Sunday in Nashville. Cam Robinson, foot issue. They had a walkthrough, not an actual practice. So we'll get more clarity later today. But in this moment, I don't have any sense that there's this great concern about Cam Robinson's availability on Sunday.
Well, Darnold was on limited with the hand.
He was on the practice field for a bit after the walkthrough, just watching him for a little bit. Not that it was like this, great activity or anything, but he seemed fine. I have not been led to believe that Sam Darnold is in danger of missing Sunday's game.
But when he threw, I think, the third interception, he slammed his hand on the ground, and then he was like working out his hand. And I couldn't tell if it was from the throw or probably from the ground slamming of throwing your third pick in 10 passes.
He also got involved in the tackle, which, dude, if you're going to throw picks, get out, get down, get off the field. Do not try. It's not worth it. Like that's the thing is, don't compound your stupidity by actually trying to make a tackle. Run to the sideline, or if you think that you might get blocked or hit, just collapse. I do not want my starting quarterback in 2024 going full Kenny Stabler, the Snake, 1975.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
The other one to keep an eye on, because he's been dealing with some nicks and bruises for a few weeks, is Andrew Van Ginkel. Now, again, I have no knowledge to suggest that Andrew is in danger of missing a game or two anytime real soon. But it's been a few different things for Van Ginkel. So I'll be more curious to see how they balance his practice workload the rest of the season.
Here's some more reckless speculation for you guys on this.
Absolutely.
Speculation.
Give it to me.
Pro Football Network just put out this week an updated list of their top 15 head coaching candidates for 2025. And number 15 is Cliff Kingsbury. I think he should be even higher than that.
I would agree.
This list. But number 1 is Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator. Number 2 is Bill Belichick. 3 is Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. Mike Vrabel is 4. And then you got like Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, Todd Monken, offensive coordinator from the Ravens at 7. And then number 8 is Brian Flores. I know there's still the multi-year pending lawsuit against the NFL. There was the Tua stuff that came out a few months ago, and Brian Flores handled that really well, by the way.
Handled it perfectly.
If that was a test for, boy, has Brian Flores learned, or is he mature enough, or whatever, like he said all the right things. But the defense is back on track these last couple games. What do you guys think? What are the chances his second chance will happen? What are the chances it happens in 2025?
I can see it eventually happening. It's hard to see it happening in 2025. We need to see some sort of closure on the litigation. Like, he's suing the league. Find me the owner that is hiring Brian Flores as long as that is still pending. Why it has taken this long is beyond me. But we need to have some sort of closure on that front. But just based on his body of work, he absolutely deserves another opportunity. Now, hey, the trend, Judd, has been, it seems for a few years now, it's not 100% this way, but the trend has been you hire an offensive mind. So I get it. Ben Johnson, others above Flores on a list. But I'd like to think at some point he's young enough in the next 5-ish years that he will get a second crack.
I think he definitely will. I think the lawsuit has to be done because, look, Roger Goodell and the people that own these teams are in cahoots. I don't see someone going so rogue as to say, "Oh, screw it." And the fact that he is a defensive guy makes it very simple. Like, I think what we need to look at is, yes, there are defensive guys, i.e. Dan Quinn, who have been successful. So,
sure, Jonathan Gannon.
Exactly. But that being said, I think it's very easy to not hire him and say, well, we're going, like the Bears are not going to go defense again. So
no chance.
I'm with you. I think I think he does get a chance. I don't think it comes now. And I also think that, you know what? The dude is in a good situation here. I'm sure he's well compensated. He basically, as far as I can tell, gets to run an entire side of the ball with minimal input from Kevin. Like, I think he gets suggestions and things, but I think he also makes suggestions to Kevin. So
absolutely.
This is one of those ones where if I'm Flores, unless I feel like I get an opportunity that's really, really good and I can't pass up, I'm not just trying to get a head coaching job anywhere to escape a situation that I don't love. I can't see how he wouldn't love things here. And I think he's given a ton of autonomy, which also definitely helps.
All true. I firmly believe his family love it here. He absolutely loves it here. Financially speaking, he is well taken care of. Family-wise, like his kids are at a West Metro school, that environment, just everything about living here in the Twin Cities. Yeah, you're right.
Curious.
Nice job. Nice job not naming the specific school.
Yes, everything. Well, because I heard it. I was actually at a birthday party not that long ago at a really cool spot not far from campus. We played some pickleball, had some beers, encountered somebody there, mutual friend of the birthday I don't know, what would you call it? The man of the night, right? And and so I didn't know this person, but he came up, fan of what we do, and said, "Hey, my kids go to school with Brian Flores' kids, and have gotten to know the family, and they're loving it here." So it's not like I'm just randomly saying that,
Golden Valley
but just everything I've heard is Flo, his family, they love it here. And Judd, you're right. I mean, he's got enough power that he's not itching to get out of here, not at all. So, I think he's here in 2025. If you're asking me right now, Brian Flores is the Vikings defensive coordinator in 2025.
There are some spots that, like Chicago, hire an offensive person, please.
Yes.
Just like for the love of God, just hire someone who knows what they're doing on offense. But there is a defensive coach renaissance happening in the NFL right now. I mean, Dan Quinn, hell of a job with the Commanders. Nick Sirianni's a defensive guy who's gotten it back on track, right, with the Eagles.
Offensive guy, I thought.
Is he an offensive guy? Okay.
Yeah, he's an offensive guy, right?
But
Yeah.
Sean McDermott, defensive guy. Mike Tomlin, longtime defensive guy. Raheem
Well,
Morris
yeah, I mean,
is
Gannon.
a defensive guy.
Yeah,
DeMeco
I mean, look
Ryan.
at the success in Arizona. Yeah,
Dan
DeMeco for
Campbell.
sure. Yes, there are some. Absolutely. But, like, the Jets aren't going with another defensive guy.
The Jets need a leader. Like
The Bears
Jets
definitely are
need,
not. The Saints, Dennis Allen, defensive guy? Is that
I
his
think he
background?
is a defensive back.
Kind of a nothing guy, but
So
yeah,
the Saints probably aren't going that direction either.
I thought Campbell was an
Disrespectful.
offensive guy because he played tight end.
But didn't he coach linebackers with the Dolphins?
Yeah, I think he's got the experience all around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Raheem Morris also had some offensive experience, but
Tight ends coach.
so anyways, yeah, I'm wrong on. You know what's funny? Dan Campbell seems like a defensive guy, but yes, he is a longtime tight ends coach, a la a Mike Tice. So all right, I was wrong on.
He didn't
Dan
coach
Campbell.
any defense along the way? I thought he did. No?
No,
He's
guess not.
Okay.
been an assistant
All right.
head coach and tight ends coach throughout his
Got
career.
it.
So
Okay.
but anyways, some other stuff non-Vikings to get to here. But Dex, what's happening on Underdog as we go into another football weekend?
Yeah, there's a over under 0.5 of Declan Vikings rants that just hit. So if you had that on Underdog, congratulations. That's first leg of a pick'em. You can also get some Thursday night football action. You got Vikings and Titans. Maybe ride a couple extra Will Levis touch. I bet there's extra juice on Will Levis interceptions going into that game. So check out all the great different options at Underdog. Promo code SKOR for a 50% deposit match at Underdog. Promo code SKOR. Shout out to Underdog for helping us out here at SKOR North.
Also, a shout out to the exclusive personal injury law firm of SKOR North Podcast, Nicolay Law. So, Nicolay Law is here if you or a loved one gets injured in an accident where life can kind of be spinning and come to a stop. And that's where Russell Nicolay and his team, who are very much local, rooted in Twin Cities communities, they're just your normal everyday folks that happen to have law degrees to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. You can start your path to winning at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. Dukes, I mean, the Timberwolves, there's big Twins news this week too. So you pick a scoop path here and walk down it. We'll follow you.
Well, one other Vikings note. We'll get some clarity early next week if the Vikings-Cardinals game gets flexed.
Ooh.
And I need to look at the exact rules. Judd, maybe you know. So there's a 3:25 game on Sunday, December
1st.
What is that? December
I've got 'em right here,
1st?
by the way.
First.
That's Eagles-Ravens. So CBS is going to protect that game.
Yep.
The Monday night game, the Sunday night game's a good one. I believe it's Niners-Bills on December 1st, something like that. Definitely Buffalo. So Sunday night football, to me, isn't moving. The Monday night game, Browns against Broncos.
Ugh.
Barf.
Oh.
Okay.
And there's limited possibilities because of 3 games on Thanksgiving, then 1 game on Black Friday. But can Fox also protect a game that afternoon? Because if you look at the Fox slate of games, the best game is Vikings-Cardinals.
Yeah.
Or did they need to make that declaration weeks ago? Like, I forget the exact rules on when these networks need to protect games. Is it many, many weeks in advance? Or is it just 3 weeks or so in advance? I still think Vikings-Packers on December 29th, very good possibility that game gets moved to a later time.
12 days for Sunday Night Football in weeks 5 through 13 and Monday Night Football in weeks 12 through 17, and that'd be week 13 for Monday Night Football. The NFL will decide and announce no later than 12 days in advance of the game which game will be played on Sunday night and which game will be played on Monday night.
I still need I need clarification on the networks being able to protect games. Is that on a weekly basis, or is that just 3 or 2 games over the course of many weeks?
Dukes?
Yeah.
I checked that out, and that actually, it's not clear. I'll check with the Vikings because
it's worth checking. I'm not suggesting it's like happening.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it out as a talking point.
Yes.
So they'd have to announce by like the 19th. So within 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
They would have
But
to
I mean,
let
that's
us
a
know.
massive change. Let's just say it happens. And I don't remember a game on Monday night being flexed last year. Correct me if I'm wrong on
You
that.
got to get the Browns out of there.
They did not use it.
You got to get the
Last year.
Browns out.
But I
of there.
mean, there are people with
Abort.
flights booked
right?
That's okay.
Like, there's a lot of moving parts for fans expecting to come to town or, whatever those plans entail for a noon game on Sunday, December 1st. If you then shift that game to Monday night at 7:20, that's a big ask of a lot of people.
There's flexible scheduling for Monday and Thursday night games, and it started last year, and it's not been
correct. It just started.
So it's very judicious, though.
I think a lot goes into it. That's why we didn't see any shifting last year. But I just wonder if this is the year that we see some shifting. Yeah, just based on all your TV contacts, Judd, check that out. Vikings Cardinals, December 1st. Otherwise, Phil, we can go any number of directions. I will say, because I don't think this is one of the directions you were thinking about, but briefly on Gophers men's basketball, to me, they win last night if Mike Mitchell Jr. didn't sprain his ankle against Omaha the other day. But like the offense, I don't even know what the heck they were running in the first half. End up losing to North Texas, a bye game. I don't have the exact contract in front of me, but we're talking many thousands of dollars that the Gophers paid North Texas to play that game at Williams Arena last night. North Texas then wins the game. So inevitably, the question comes up today, okay, the end is near for Ben Johnson, 4th year as Gophers coach. His buyout after last year was $2.75 million. His buyout after this season goes down. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but we're talking 7 figures.
Yeah.
I'll continue to say, where is that athletic department coming up with the money to buy out Ben? Then the logical replacement is Niko Medved, the current head coach at Colorado State, who signed a new contract in April. So to buy Niko out of his Colorado State contract, we're talking many millions of dollars. Revenue sharing is coming in the spring. The Gophers athletic department, other athletic departments, but specifically the Gophers, will pay their athletes nearly $21 million. Okay? Where are they coming up with that money? And now we're talking about buying out a coach's contract, buying out another coach's contract. It's tough. But, hey, season ticket numbers are down. It's not like it's a good number anyway, but season ticket numbers are down a few hundred this year. So, hey, there are a lot of question marks. I'm just saying in this moment, I need to know where that athletic department is coming up with the money if you're suggesting it's time to fire Ben.
Okay, I wasn't planning on ranting about this today, but it's very triggering when we talk about a top 15 media market, massive population, one of the biggest undergrad and graduate schools in the entire country. And we act like, from an NIL standpoint and from an athletic department standpoint, that we can't even find 2 quarters on the couch cushions to keep a power forward or get a quarterback in here on a regular basis or to buy out a coach for a couple $1 million. I mean, it's for it being such a big, high-profile school in the Big Ten, in a massive market relative to the rest of college athletics, it is such a small-time operation to me. It's infuriating. Like, if Niko Medved is the right hire, there should be no barrier. Like, a few $1 million here and there should not be a barrier to get the right coach in here for a really high-profile, which should be a high-profile program. That's my 2 cents.
Which is fair.
Stop acting broke, I guess, and stop being broke, Gophers.
They messed up years ago with T. Denny Sanford. Like, to me, T. Denny could still be cutting big, massive checks today. Then, some of the older folks have unfortunately passed.
Jeez.
But then you think about an older folk who's in tremendous shape, Harvey McKay. Okay, Harvey, cut the check, but there hasn't been that level of interest in doing so. And I'm not just singling out him. There's some others that are backers of the athletic department, specifically men's basketball. Okay, cut the check then, if need be. And so, yeah, it's been a struggle in that regard. But, Phil, you're absolutely right. You are in the premier conference, or one of the 2 premier conferences. It's pretty much the Big Ten and the SEC. With all due respect to the ACC, the Big 12, it's the Big Ten, it's the SEC. All that money you're making off the Big Ten network, I'm just saying, yes, they should act more like they are a big-time athletic department.
Yeah. Okay, let's a couple rapid-fire scoops here, Dukes. We talked and we went live on Tuesday during the Twins breaking news and Dave St. Peter out, Derek Falvey elevated, and we argued and whatever. In the 2 days since, now that the dust has settled, as it turns out, for anyone that was uncertain, will the Twins shake up the organization after a massive failure down the stretch? Well, ownership is selling the team. Thad Levine is out. They fired their hitting coaches. Dave St. Peter is out. Derek Falvey elevated. Jeremy Zoll, the new general manager. So, I mean, I'll say this. At the very least, we could agree or disagree on whether these are good moves or whether they will help the team in 2025. They certainly didn't sit on their hands.
No, I mean, people have been begging for moves. Well, guess what? You got your wish. Now, I'm sure some people would say, well, why exactly was Derek Falvey elevated? Why not bring in an outsider? Why was Jeremy Zoll elevated? On Dave St. Peter, some shifting I've gathered in his personal life, something that I think he's considered here for a bit. On Derek elevating, I think one thing that in the moment of Tuesday, within the 5 minutes of the news breaking, us going live on Tuesday, one thing over the last 48 hours since that conversation that I've gathered, you go back and forth with a number of Twins employees, they're all pretty confident this will work because others will have their duties elevated. The structure, how they do things, will be a bit different under Derek compared to Dave. So we're making a big deal of how is Derek going to balance both, and there are others that are going to be doing more moving forward. So Derek isn't going to have on his plate exactly everything that Dave had on his plate. A reminder, too, that this is all kicking in a few months. So, like, this winter, this offseason, like the baseball winter meetings in a couple weeks, nothing is changing in that regard. Like, Derek is still leading the room wherever the exotic location is, San Diego or wherever the winter meetings are in a couple weeks.
Here's the question.
So nothing is changing in that regard.
Why was Thad Levine let go when clearly he appeared to be the guy who should have been allowed to be, because he had the title, the GM? Like, to me, this is concerning because unless there was something behind the scenes that we don't know, that Thad was a lousy employee because everything we saw was really good. Are we also trying to eliminate people that we perceive as threats because they might be smarter? That concerns me a lot now because there's no way on God's green earth that Thad bolted if he was told, hey, you know what? You're going to be basically in charge of overseeing, with some assistance from Derek again, baseball ops. That's what I want to know. Why was Jeremy Zoll, why did he need to be promoted when you had a guy that you could have just said, okay, you know what? As of 2025, you are the real GM.
Money. I'll bet you.
Yeah, certainly money. I mean, his contract was up.
Thad and Dave St.
They are
Peter
saving money.
a lot of money.
There's no doubt about that. They are saving some money.
Not surprising, but also disturbing.
I mean, they're trying to right-size. They're being frontal, the poll ads, about right-sizing the business leading into a sale. And I don't know if this is the main driver, but Dave St. Peter, who's been a C-level executive for 20-plus years, probably made a lot of money. And Thad Levine, coming in from other organizations as a GM, probably started a lot of money. I mean, you're saying goodbye to a lot of money, and you're maybe lessening the expenses as you look to right size your business. That's probably part of it, I would say.
That is absolutely, me opining more so, but absolutely a part of it. But they also think the world of Jeremy Zoll, that they didn't want to lose him to another organization. And so that is a part of it as well. Now, I told you in the moment, I thought it might be more Daniel Adler, not Jeremy Zoll, who got elevated. But certainly Jeremy has done a lot, although Falvey citing Jeremy's role in the Jorge Polanco trade, I'm not quite sure I'd cite that one.
Yeah, I don't cite that one.
That one, I didn't really get. The Sonny Gray trade, sure, absolutely. The work they did with the Cincinnati Reds, Jeremy leading the charge on that one, sure. Cite that one all you want. The Jorge Polanco trade, I'm not quite sure.
Hey, Justin Topa was great behind the scenes.
Yes, but they do. They think a lot of Jeremy Zoll, so that is a part of this as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I will tell you from Tuesday, it sounds like behind the scenes. Now I've told you, A-Rod, Lori, no, but that there is a good amount of interest in buying the Twins. What I still need to gather is, okay, there's interest. And I think, here in the Twin Cities metropolitan area, the Davis family, interest, okay? But, are these people willing to meet the price that the poll ads want? I think there's interest, but is that interest at more like $1.2 billion, 1.3, 1.4, maybe as high as 1.5, but not quite 1.7 or 1.8 or even 1.9, maybe even approaching $2 billion. Yeah. I'm not sure the interest is necessarily there at that number. Plus, you've got these private equity firms that have been poking around, but the word is there's enough people that have an interest in owning a professional sports franchise that there is interest. Now, I'm not quite sure we've ever said there is an interest, but that was one thing gathered on Tuesday, that there's absolutely interest in buying the Twins.
Yeah. Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. Good stuff.
All right,
dude.
boys. And we didn't even rip the Wolves, huh?
There'll be plenty of that on Flagrant Howls. Yeah.
Rudy Gobert did not have a blocked shot last night. And it's not all on Rudy, but how is that freaking possible?
Yeah. It's 2 nights ago, Ant didn't have a rebound. 37 minutes, no rebounds? Most athletic guy in the
weird.
court.
And trust me, it starts with their lack of stopping the ball at the perimeter. So it's not all on Rudy. But there were ample opportunities to block shots last night. How Rudy didn't get one? Baffling. Very, very baffling.
Yeah, weird vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But
very weird vibes.
We'll talk
they didn't have a
about it
3-game
on
losing streak all last regular season.
Yeah.
And now you've lost 3 in a row, 2 to the lowly Blazers, who I think have a pretty bright future, but not necessarily in the moment.
Well, Shaden Sharp is a player. That dude is. And we were talking about those Portland trades like 2 years ago, and I wanted Shaden Sharp pretty bad, but yeah, he's staying in Portland. So,
but yeah, that was odd because Portland did not play well last night. 2 nights ago, I can chalk up to just a ridiculous level of shot making. Now, I thought Portland had some pretty good looks on Tuesday, but they shot the lights out. Last night, not so much. Portland turned the ball over 19 times. Didn't make 3-pointers. That was very, very concerning. Yeah, I'm more so pushing the panic button on the Wolves than I am on JJ McCarthy, put it that way. Yeah, and I'm not quite, because I do want to give it a 20 to 25 game sample size with the new pieces. But if you're asking me, okay, if you had to push the panic button on one of the two, it's more so the Wolves.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Dukes. Happy Reckless Speculation Thursday. We'll see you next week.
All right, boys. We'll talk next week. Take it easy.
All right, Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.